All right, guys, as you're getting a more comprehensive understanding of your company, we need to go over market analysis. This is humongous. If you guys haven't already gone deep, deep, deep into your market analysis, this is going to be a game changer for you. And I've got these first four questions, and then I've got two bonus questions. So, number one is, who is your target market? Who is your target customer? If you guys didn't go to college, if you guys never got to take a marketing class, it's really good to watch a video or something on YouTube that helps you understand your market and also your market segments. Because once you can identify and isolate your own market segment, you know exactly where your target market is and exactly who you're talking to. Number two is, what is the demographic? This is huge, and this can make your business really easy. For instance, if you were to open up a cookie franchise, often you would be looking for the exact same demographic that Target looks for. And so when you're growing your franchise, you can now go and say, man, what other companies have the same demographic that we do? And how are they targeting their customers? And that way you can actually find the customer through the company. So you go find out where their location is and you go look for open locations, and you can pretty reasonably guess that you're going to have a really good turnout and get really close to your target market. Number three is key characteristics of my ideal client. I'm going to take this one a little further, because key characteristics could be things such as, they work in a certain industry. It could be certain things like they play certain sports or whatever. Depends on what you're selling. Sometimes if you've done it really well, you've niched down into something where it's, we do jerseys for rugby players in North America. And you've got it all niched down and you know exactly who you're selling to. For some of you, it's a little more broad, but one of the best practices that all of these humongous companies do is they actually create a character. They give them a name. It's an avatar that fully describes exactly who they're selling to. So for instance, you go and find ones like Starbucks. They're going, it's a young girl in her early 20s, 22, 23. They actually give them names. They'll call them Kimberly, and they'll say, Kimberly loves doing this on the weekend. She loves doing this with her friends. She doesn't like this. Is she political? Is she not? Is she friends with her family? Does she have a lot of friends? Is she artistic? Is she a designer? What is this person, this avatar that we sell to? Because there's companies, coolest stories I've ever heard of billionaires, CEOs of enormous companies, having investors come and pitch them on ideas, and they say, no, Nancy wouldn't like that. And they're like, who's Nancy? And they're like, oh, well, she's our avatar. And they're like, oh, well, I'd love to meet her. And they're like, no, she's not real. Just helping them understand that they've gotten so specific on who they sell to that they have a specific avatar that they can just bring up to mind and recognize, does this speak to our specific audience? So make one of those. Number four is pain points. What pain points does your product or service solve? If you guys don't know this is probably the biggest thing you need to be asking yourself right now. Because not just what value do you bring to the market, but what pain do you solve? If you guys have been in sales, Sales 101 is going to tell you that whenever anybody is buying anything, they are either moving towards pleasure or away from pain. Now, it's great if you can do both. If you can say, hey, we're going to move you towards this value that we bring, and also we're going to alleviate this pain that you're feeling. So recognizing through market research, asking your customers, or maybe you already are a person that experienced this pain. Often businesses get started because you have experienced a pain and you learned how to alleviate that pain in your life. Now you are qualified to do it with other people. It's a great way to build a business. If you are actually in your target market, if you're a guy who's skinny and then you got a lot of muscles and that made you more confident, and you recognize that you're like, man, I can really help other people do this really well because I was that guy. I felt that pain. You know that the pain that they're feeling is not that they don't have muscles. It's that they lack self-confidence and that they would like to have a more positive self-image, especially their body. So recognizing what pain does your product or service actually solve is going to help you so much with your marketing, because you will be able to actually market to them. Now let's do the next two questions. So number five is, what are the current market trends and how do they impact my business? This is humongous. If you guys have been through a lot of the things we've been through in the last couple of years with your business, like COVID or like Black Lives Matter or a lot of other things going on in politics or in our world, you've recognized that there are certain things that are trends that are going to impact your business. I've had friends who had things like a company where they sell synthetic dreads, but then the Black Lives Matter, movement comes along and people are calling them all sorts of names, telling them that they shouldn't be selling that kind of hairstyle belongs to certain races and certain cultures, and that they are bad people for doing that. And so their sales drop, but then later they go back up because the trend is over. If you guys aren't watching for current trends in your market, you are going to wonder why all of these sales are going up and down, and you're not going to understand what's going on. But if you're somebody who's really advanced, like Ryan Reynolds with his fast advertising, where he recognizes a trend quickly, something that people are going to be talking about, something that's going to culturally be a huge topic of discussion, he will very quickly move with his team and come up with some sort of an advertisement that actually relates to that topic, mentions it, basically puts them as the thing to talk about right next to that trending topic, and then they become the new topic. And so it's a great way for them to get a lot of traction in their market because they're adhering to the current trends. So you can use trends to grow, and trends can also come after you. So it's important to make sure you know what's going on with those. And the last one is, who are my main competitors and what are their strengths and weaknesses? This is a huge question because if you guys don't actually know who your competition is, you should have done more research before you started your company. Every time I've gone to any of my mentors and I said, hey, I want to create a company, it's going to solve this problem, the first thing they always ask me is, who's already doing it? Because they want to know what company is already addressing this problem, what solution have they come up with, and why do I think I can do any better? Because if you guys go and you say, hey, I'm going to start up a burger shop, I'm going to sell burgers night and day and we're going to kill it, they're going to go, okay, well, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? What is your competition's strengths and weaknesses? Well, McDonald's has been around forever and their brand awareness is enormous. When people go to McDonald's, they know that they're going to get the same thing every time they order it because of their consistency and their practices and their operations. So your weaknesses are that you're brand new. How are you possibly going to compete with somebody this big when you're just a me too product? Something where you have no real unique value proposition at all. You don't have anything unique about your company. If you don't deliver it in a unique way, if you don't create it in a unique way, if you don't have any special intellectual property or anything that's trademarked or patentable, you're going to be left in a spot where you have a lot of competition. Because if you don't have any of these walls that are held up that are protecting you from competition, well, the barrier to entry, which is what this is very, very low, which means anybody can come in and they can compete with you. And this is where you want to check out who's your competition and what are they doing. Because the thing is, if you're already in the fight, if you're already having your burger shop and you're recognizing, man, what does McDonald's do well and what do they not? You might say, I think one of their weaknesses is their fries. Some people love them. To me, I don't. And I think that I can do better there. Well, that's a strategic advantage that you could actually have on McDonald's or whatever burger chain you're going against. If you look at their strengths and you go, man, they get their orders out fast and we take a long time, you might recognize that that's something that you can try to improve. Something where, things like Five Guys, where they go, man, as soon as somebody comes in the door, they throw 1 or 2 patties on the grill because they know that that helps have a great customer experience where they shorten that time and they get their food fast and hot. So recognize who is your competition, what are they doing well, what are they doing bad, so that you know how you can compete in your market.